is our history. Buildings and people and memories and dreams. Who better to tell us than those who were there? There's so much to learn from the stories they'll share.
Living history. Living history.
Hello, welcome to Living History, an interview program with Ted Goldsborough and our guests today, Dr. Sam and Mrs. Dorothy Edgerton. They each spent time in Lower Merion Township, and so we're talking about their schooling and where they lived and athletics. We're talking about Ardmore Avenue School and the NAACP. And we had been focused here on a picture of the Lower Merion High School scoreboard in the old days before we had electronic scoreboards and people had to put numbers up and downs up. And so, Dr. Sam, you're in the back here, I presume.
That's me, and this is Nora Cleaver off to the right. Actually, we were the co-sports editors for the Marionite at that time,
the student newspaper.
Yeah, that school.
Yeah.
And I had just starting my actually weird second year at Lower Merion High School, and got very much interested in sports, and I was reading the scoreboard, and that was, of course, the beginning of a career for me at Lower Merion High School, which was made me friends that I've kept for life.
Yes. Now, did you have to watch the game and see what was?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You had
and read the hang letters. You know, there's no lights on this thing.
And there was no adult to say, do this, do that.
No, and well, we were making mistakes all the time about whether you couldn't see which down it was, and sometimes you had the referees are screaming, yelling at us. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Yeah.
Now, when I look at this picture, I see cars on the hillside.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So that meant that you were on what we later called, I don't know if you called it, we called it Pennypacker Field. That was out behind Lower Merion. Because in 1949, what became Arnold Field opened up on Montgomery Avenue across from. So this was the old field for
Pennypacker Field.
For about 30 years. It was the athletic field, and
you could park right around the edge of it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me see. You were telling about WIBG.
Right.
Tell me about that.
Well, you have that picture of Dorothy's house in the front that just kind of a little bit of a background here.
Yes. And so let me see here. If of course, when you're trying to find it, you can't find it.
It's the story of my life.
Yeah. They'll put it in when we edit. But Calvert Road.
Yeah. When Dottie and I were courting, and we'd pull up in front of her house, her father upstairs was blinking the lights on to come on in, and we always had a kind of ritual. It was
what time was this?
This was 1949, 48.
What time of the
But
day?
1 o'clock in the morning?
Oh yes. Well,
no wonder he's flicking the lights.
Well, I have to say that this was I've done a little research on this because I was fascinated by it when you brought it up. That this was all over town. The Bluebird of Happiness that I'm going to introduce in a moment was an actual ritual which all people running dates would follow on this. And this was what Ed McCullough had founded this wonderful station, WIP, the Dawn Patrol, which had originally been established during the war to benefit the defense workers who were working all-night shifts, to bring music to them all night long. It was actually one of the first DJ programs in the country. And part of that ritual was at 1:11 every night, I'm not sure every night, but at least Friday and Saturday night, date nights, they would bring on this famous Jan Pierce record of the Bluebird of Happiness. And so what it was that you stretched your date time up. Even your father and mother had to go along with this. Look, folks, we got to hear the Bluebird, which was at 1:11, only lasted for a few minutes. Then she trundled off to her house, and I.
But to your date, it really meant that she was late and she would be nervous, but still, it was such a wonderful
But the ritual was
song,
accepted,
it
so it was,
just
you know, it
wanted
was
to hear
like
it.
it was something.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we were doing something wrong in the car. We were just,
Yeah,
and we would
yeah,
often sing
yeah.
like karaoke style. We would sing the song together with Van Pierce.
But it is pretty late, early in the
yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
It's a nice memorization.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Like
of
kids
course,
do today.
you kids had already graduated from high school,
Oh
hadn't
yes,
you?
yeah.
Yeah.
So you were adults, you
Well,
know.
I guess you could
yeah.
recognize that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So that was
So the Bluebird of Happiness.
right. Jan
And
Pierce.
I listened to it when you told me. I
Jan
went on to
Pierce.
Google and
Yeah.
found it.
Yeah.
Ta-da-da-da-da-da. Now, at Lower Merion High School
Mm-hmm.
during the war years,
Right.
there was a shop teacher named Russell Byerly.
Russ Byerly, right.
And Byerly, by chance, had a kid, or by whatever, he had one son, and that boy was in the class of 46. And I don't know that that had anything to do with it, but Mr. Byerly seemed to get along very well with the boys, because he taught boys shop.
Right.
Girls didn't take
Right.
shop in those days. And he would say to the boys, when you're going off to war, send me a card or a letter. I
Right,
want to know
yeah.
how you're doing. Well,
Yeah.
this turned into a huge project, thousands of letters.
I'll bet.
And then he asked the boys to send him, and by the later women, could you send me your picture in uniform? And the Lower Merion Historical Society has all those letters. His
yeah.
son donated them to us. But I just thought I'd mention Mr. Byerly in the newsletters. And also, there's a very famous 1903 graduate named
Hap Arnold.
Hap Arnold.
Yeah.
And Hap, in 1947, came back to Lower Merion. I don't know if you happened to see him when he came. You were at Penn, I guess. No, you might have been out in Illinois.
47 is in Illinois, correct?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now, time is a-fleeting, and a boy met a girl. Where did you two meet?
Well, that's a interesting story. I guess it was 1948, I think, wasn't it, Dot? My
Yes,
friend
I
Bobby
believe.
Davis, another one of my old Lower Merion pals who's still alive, and he had a date with Dottie, and I had a date with this other young lady. I think her name was Hazlett or something, Kathy Hazlett. And we went to we were very close to Jack Kelly, the rower at that time, and his one of the clubs, one of the rowing clubs on the Schuylkill River. I'm trying to think which one it was, Undyne or which one of those.
Yes, yes.
Well, whatever it was.
I can't help.
Yeah. And it was an interesting party that night. Grace Kelly was there, among with other things. Jack's sister at that time. She was going out with Warren Neville at that point. I remember seeing her at a table, sitting there, kind of lonely looking.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Before her movie
Oh,
career.
indeed. She was
Yeah,
just barely
yes.
out of high school herself then. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Bobby had a little bit too much suds. And he ended up by getting sick or something like that.
Ooh, ooh.
No, he
And-
was just lonely looking and kind of sitting.
Yeah, and kind of,
In a
and
stupor,
and
yeah.
so I volunteered to take Dottie home, and I can't remember was the other day sitting with you that I took her. I had to take her home first, and I took her home.
So you had two girls in one car?
I guess it had to work that way. I'm not sure whether I did this.
But you might have saved your life from a drunken driving, maybe.
we could,
Maybe.
Maybe.
thought of that,
And
yeah.
he got to know where I lived. of
Yeah.
course.
And in the course of that, after I was alone with her in the car there, I guess we looked at each other in the eyes and said maybe something's here. So it continued therefrom. Yeah. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
48, was it?
I think it was 48. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably. Yeah.
And how long was it then until the marriage?
Well, there were ups and downs in this. There's another boyfriend that was in between this.
He came back in.
No, he was in St. Louis.
Oh,
So that was interrupting for a while, but I prevailed. So
good. Yeah.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But I have to, there's one other incident in our lifetime that I have to mention, that I went to Europe in 1950, and Sam had never been to Europe, and I think this kind of changed our life a little bit. He just had to get there, so he, when we were married, and a few years, he applied for a Fulbright, and so off we went with 3 children to Germany.
Yes, yeah. I have a picture in here that Dr. Sam gave me. The return from Germany.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll show that in just a second. But let's get you married first.
Oh, okay.
This is a
So-
lovely picture here.
Went back to see, yes, there's I just had another picture of Sister Marie Gertrude, yes, and Sister Augustus. No.
Were they teachers of yours?
Yes, yes, English
Okay.
and the senior year.
Okay.
So we just went back for a second, and to be photographed, and Sam and me said, let's go back to the reception. We hadn't been to the tribute house yet.
Yeah, we had to pay respects to the.
Okay, so you came from St. Matthias, where you were married, came over to Merion Mercy. Just a quick trip, and it must have been a job to get all that dress into a car.
Right. It was.
Yeah, were you driving, or did you have a chauffeur?
Oh no, somebody chauffeur driving.
Okay, limousine.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you went over to the Merion Tribute House, which is on Hazelhurst Road in Merion.
On a very hot June 2 day. Very hot. Very hot.
And you were all dressed up. Oh,
yeah, that was the torture, I must say. Yeah.
It's air conditioned now. You have to come back. And then I guess at the reception, you were dancing, and the guests were dancing. I was looking for that long skirt, and I think I see it.
Yeah, I guess my two sisters are there.
There's her dad right there. Yeah, that's Ginny. Isn't that Ginny? Yeah,
Ginny and Marcy.
Her sister.
Oh, that's a nice picture.
Very nice.
Thanks, Dr. Edgerton, for sharing these family photos that we can.
That was fun looking through them. You started something. We had this massive collection of photos at home, and postcards and everything. And you asked for some pictures, and so my whole library now is full of boxes of pictures, and we're going through them one at a time, and every one is a story. And you try to even put any I can throw away. Oh no, I can't. Where was this funny tower? Where were we in this thing? We have to have an argument about. This could be any one of 5 countries in the world. Yeah, right. we can't remember. Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, the ones that you pull out and scan to me, you have to put back again.
Oh, that's what I was doing.
All right, so we had a house on Gypsy Lane.
That's us. That's where I lived, yeah.
And I was so surprised because the address that Dr. Sam gave me was this house, and it said that this house was built in 1980 or something. I knew this was not your house.
Very much, yeah,
so evidently the next door neighbor must have sold a lot, and then on that lot a house was built.
I see. So
I can't remember anybody on this side of the house. There was a house right next door to us. There was I kept thinking that was the other house you had. It was right next door.
Yes, I didn't bring that with me.
Yeah, I think that's 235, and this is 233 or something.
239. It was.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were close together anyway. Yeah,
okay.
But that was our house, right?
Now we've used up another time segment, and so we have to take a break.
Okay.
This is Ted Goldsboro with Living History with the Edgertons, and we'll be back.